weekly corner Späti. It is Ciaran, and I'm joined by Julia.
Hello, hello.
And Nick.
Hey.
And we're doing a bonus episode of all sad things. A lot of
Yeah.
I think we should slowly transition the podcast towards being like an anime recap podcast and just leave this politics stuff behind because it's too upsetting.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I'm thinking that we should change it to a what's it called? Like one of those like men's dating podcasts.
Oh, yes.
Those are super.
I mean, we
those are
basically
super
opened the podcast
cringe.
with that, with Julia informing us that size does in fact matter.
Exactly, yeah.
Nah, I'm just kidding.
And then have really cringy fucking videos on TikTok. Yeah, that get like 1 billion shares.
I give you the female perspective and shit like that, you know?
Yeah, but it's
exactly.
important for us to hit the correct demographic. We will have to edit all of your clips to make you sound evil and stupid.
Yes.
Yeah. This is important. Because TikTok is like that with these fucking podcasts. Although, actually, no, I did hear of a fun, speaking of like the opposite version of this, I did hear of a fun thing that's happening on TikTok at the moment, which is, I've talked about this before, of like people pretending that they're on podcasts on TikTok.
Yeah.
So it's really common on TikTok. If you just want to like say something, you'll record yourself, but you'll put like a professional looking microphone in front of you so it seems more legitimate. Apparently this started in like Brazil and it was like a bunch of pro Bolsonaro stuff.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's great. And there's like a Portuguese
That's that fucking
word.
grind set mentality that I imagine from the pro Bolsonaro camp.
And there's like a Portuguese, like Brazilian Portuguese compound word for like fake podcast for this phenomenon and whatever. Anyway, there's a new version of that on English speaking TikTok where women just say very sexually provocative things. And it it exists for the sole purpose of pissing off like right-wing men's rights people.
Nice.
Because it also contributes to that woman's OnlyFans account where like this outrage thing contributes to like her advertising her OnlyFans account.
I was about to say, like, it should be something like you're only doing podcasts on your OnlyFans, basically. You just like, it's like a sexy ASMR or sexy podcast.
There's naked ladies behind there, but in front of the paywall, there's fake podcasts.
Nice.
Yeah, do the corner Späti OF where we do have the exact same show, but we're just all naked. It's actually it's very unsettling.
Actually, everyone listening, that is happening right now. Don't worry. If that's what you're into, that's happening.
Yeah,
we won't provide you with any proof. But
it's genuinely just kind of gross. It's like it's not even like hot. It's very
it's so
sad.
cold right now.
Yeah.
It's very cool. Yeah, but like, hey, you're behind the paywall. You've already paid. But if you think it will help get more people behind the paywall, you can tell your friends, yo, they're naked behind here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, time to discuss not fun stuff based on what's happening in the world. Fucked thing number one that we do have to mention, because I'll feel bad if we don't mention it, which is... there was like basically a pogrom in fucking Dagestan since we last recorded. Flights from Tel Aviv, I guess, flights from Israel, somewhere in Israel, landing in Dagestan were being like rushed and attacked by locals in search of Jewish people, quote unquote, which is not how you protest what is happening currently. That is bad and anti-Semitic and awful.
Yeah, it was not only the flights. There was also a crowd surrounding. It was in a different city, surrounding a hotel and demanding the guests in the hotel to show their passports, basically, to find out whether they were Jewish or Israeli.
Israeli as proof of being Jewish.
Exactly. Israeli as proof of being Jewish, exactly. So
Yeah. This is like that thing that we always talk about that, you know, Germany really, by conflating anti-Semitism to mean nothing, it really overshadows these actual occurrences that do happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's always like, yeah, it's just, it feels so fucking stupid when you have to like be like, yeah, no, like this is bad. This is not how you protest. You know, this is just gross. This isn't even a protest. This is just hunting people down.
This is basically trying to do a pogrom. Yeah.
It's really fucking
and the
unsettling.
justification for that, like from Russia's side, is also wild. They're saying like that basically the West and Ukraine is responsible for these anti-Semitic actions.
There's
which they like Tagesschau had an interview with, or what, I don't know if it was Tagesschau, but someone had an interview with a former rabbi of Moscow who left the country, is in exile now because he does not agree with the invasion of Ukraine. And he was talking about that, like how the Jewish community is very worried in Russia in general, not only in Dagestan. And of course, it's like and Putin and other the Russian government basically saying because of like it's easy to abuse basically the TV pictures there from Gaza and use that against like to cause like an uprising in Russia or something like that, or like some tumult in Russia that makes Russia look bad without
seems kind of like the mirror image of like Russia tricked America into voting for Donald Trump, of like, damn, America and Ukraine made us anti-Semitic. Isn't that in the same way that like America was trying to convince themselves that Russia made them racist.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, like, also the funniest one too was the one that we talked about last week in a slightly different light, was that Russia is secretly behind all of this. The FDP minister.
Oh, the person who looks like she belongs on a bottle of Mr. Clean.
Yeah, exactly. Or she said that then like October 7th is Putin's birthday.
It's Putin's birthday.
Coincidence.
That's a
Coincidence. I think not. Hell yeah.
That's like the Western equivalent of this. This is kind of wild,
Well, I mean,
shit fucking rips so hard.
I found, your messages very funny, your reactions to that, Ciaran. It was very...
so fucking weird.
I know.
It was so weird. So, like,
That's
that is
that
something we
grind
will...
set mentality that we appreciate in Europe.
But with this one, it's horrible that happened, and we need to speak about it, of course, and talk about it. And like, it's stuff like Putin is like going in the direction of some wild like conspiracy stuff, saying like Zelensky was like installed as an ethnical Jew to distract from the anti-Semitism in the country and stuff like that. So like,
I mean, like, Ukraine has anti-Semitism problems as well, but
exactly.
like,
but people still like voted for Zelensky. It's not like it's
and installed is also very like
Europe as a whole is anti-Semitic as fuck. Like, I think it's
this is
it's just like a thing of just like, I think every European country just relativizes their anti-Semitism against that of other countries. Like, are there some countries that are like maybe like worse? I don't know. Yeah, probably. Like,
I mean, Germany is big time.
Germany, but it's also like I'm also
Germany,
like
big time.
I'm also like blind to like a lot of the sense too of just like German and like continued anti-Semitism as well. So it's like I'll go and say that like Latvia is super anti-Semitic, and it's like, I'm in fucking Germany. Like, what the hell? Like,
there's weird like, it's all sorts of weird different flavors of anti-Semitism, isn't it? Because like. So Germany, I believe, has one of the highest rates of anti-Semitic attacks out of any Western European country, like an EU member. But then, like, the country that's measured that has the lowest is Hungary, even though, like,
interesting,
anti-Semitic like rhetoric is super common in Orban's government.
Yeah.
So it's like, we've like exchanged like street anti-Semitism for like respectable political anti-Semitism or whatever. It's all
street.
It's all kind of gross. Street anti. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. What's the?
I know what you mean. But yeah,
That makes it sound a little too cool or something.
In Latvia, there's also different factors that like intertwine that interplay. It's because a lot of the Jewish people in Latvia are not the Jewish people that are the original like Latvian Jews that used to live there before the Holocaust. A lot of them are Russian Jewish people moving to Latvia. And so there is like basically anti-Semitism combined with a hate for Russians in Latvia, and
Sure.
or like the dislike of Russians.
But we will. I think. Yeah, we had to mention it because I don't want to. While we're taking pretty firm stance on like Palestine on this podcast, we don't want to do a thing that is not necessarily common amongst like left-wing media, but certainly amongst like some left-wing social media accounts, to pretend that like anti-Semitism does not exist at all in like outside of, I don't know, some like crazed militias. But anyway, do want to put a pin in the whole like Germany's relationship to like Israel via Russia and how they understand that relationship, because it will come back later. Okay, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights has resigned in an open letter. This is what's his name, Volker Turk, writing from his office in Geneva. Basically the letter is worth reading in its entirety, but the last paragraph in particular, talking about how the UN is failing to stop kind of what the UN has been designed to stop. He does kind of like build a momentum. He does refer to other kind of genocides and ethnic cleansings that have occurred within our lifetime as things that the UN has also failed on. Namely, he mentions the Armenians and the Rohingya as two examples.
And the Yazidis he also mentioned.
The Yazidis, of course. Yeah. So yeah, just it's grim. It's grim times, but yeah, he does use some. It's important to read because I think he's using some language that a lot of media will not use and will not like report about, because I have not seen anyone talking about this at all, actually.
Yeah, he talks about like he talks about colonialism in his letter, etc. So.
Yeah. So other thing I want to mention though, as a bit of good news, is the Belgian transport trade unions are blocking all weapons shipments to Israel in a refusal to handle military equipment for the war in Palestine. So this is ACV Plus, BTB, PGTK, and ACV Transcom, which are basically all transport unions, I believe, in Belgium, across both speaking communities, which is a big deal. And this is the kind of action we started to see at the beginning of like the boycott of apartheid South Africa. In Western countries, it was mostly trade unions that kind of like started these actions and refused to handle or sell goods that were coming from or going to South Africa in that sense. But yeah.
Someone mentioned to me one of the weirdest ones of these that happened in history was that Pinochet had a few aircraft that they needed their engines repaired. I guess that they could only be repaired in Scotland or something like that,
because it was like an RAF built.
Yeah,
nonsense.
it was like a British made like fighter jet or some shit. So then they broke and they needed to get repaired, and the workers in the Scottish plant just refused to repair them. So they stayed there for ages until I guess Pinochet was removed from power, I think. And then they ended up
got it back.
No, I think eventually they ended up back in the possession of Chile, like after Pinochet was removed.
You can have this one really old jet. Yeah, because it was like a British made thing, and it was a very old model. as well, because it was like I was recently listening to like well, there's your problem talk about like some trains that were currently being commissioned in Mexico, and it's amazing how middle income countries are basically reliant on hand-me-downs from like developed countries.
Yeah.
So like this brand new train that they unveiled in like 2022 2023 in Mexico was like a train that was new in America in the 70s kind of thing. And it's yeah, so Pinochet's plane was very specifically like this old model of aircraft that just didn't like was old even when, and that's why only like one factory in Scotland could basically handle it, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's cool that we're seeing action, you know, starting on that level.
On the ground, especially unions, you know, work is like...
Yeah, there was also an impromptu, like a wildcat strike by airport workers in Athens as well. They just all walked out and refused to continue doing their jobs. So, and that was specifically about this as well.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah.
All right, and then I want to get to a little amuse bouche before we get to like the main meat of this episode, which is what is he? He's the Green Party co-leader, right?
Yeah,
it's him and Baerbock. Yeah. Habeck made.
He's also the economic minister.
Yes,
the minister for economy and climate. Technically,
oh, okay.
He has it's both under this administration.
Right. He's he made a speech that has been subtitled into, thankfully for me, into English, but also Hebrew and Arabic. And it's getting celebrated quite a bit. It's also like being reported upon very favorably. But then like it's about 10 minutes long. I watched it and listened to it all and listened to it a couple of times. It's not good.
I mean, sorry, I have to be the German here. I mean, there are parts where I think that are like fair when it comes, like he speaks about, of course, like speaking about the fear of like that Jewish people have.
Yes.
Right now, that is a very important thing to talk about, because that is also a reality. Because anti-Semitism in no way can be tolerated, of course. You know, and like he gives some examples, like, of course there are, but that is the interesting thing. He said he sat down with the Jewish community, etc., talked to them.
In Frankfurt, I was
saying. Yeah, in Frankfurt, exactly, which is, of course, also important in Germany as well. Unfortunately, he did not sit down with Palestinian community in Neukölln.
No.
Yeah, that is, you know.
Yeah.
That is one thing you can say. Yeah. But it's interesting because he, as the vice chancellor, made this speech. Where like this is also something that now is like widely discussed in the German media, is like, why did Scholz not make a speech? What's going on there? What is going on there? I feel like it's kind of because Habeck always had this like image of being the dude that is like, you know, always like calm, and he's kind of like also at the same time you can see that he's like emotionally touched by something, but he is like kind of like people still believe him. You know what I mean? In comparison,
he's got some credibility left. Maybe is
exactly. He's
to
like
be unfair to Scholz.
He's a Green Party daddy, basically, still to people.
Yeah, that is the best. That is the best description of him. Yeah. I was gonna like say he just he allowed like I feel that he allows a lot of criticism to like get past him because he is a Green Party daddy.
Exactly,
but he sucks. Like Habeck sucks ass. Like. You know, I mean, he is part of like kind of like the reason why he is the co-head of the party was because, remember, the Greens didn't know if they wanted to go more, you know, conservative, like economically, or, you know, or if they wanted to go like the Baerbock, who was kind of supposed to be seen as like the like activist kind of left in very big quotation marks. And yeah, I mean, he's been a very, I would argue, right-wing member of his party, especially for his tenure as the Minister of Economy and Climate.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, go on.
Okay. No, but when we talk about the beginning of the speech, I mean, he talks about Germany's Staatsräson, etc. The security for Israel. We talked about that before on our episode with Parallelwelt Palästina, etc. That is, of course, the position of the German
Nothing
state.
Surprising,
Not surprising, exactly, that the raison d'etat for Germany is Israel's security. And its existence. Then he continues, and there I see he's making a fair point, speaking about the Jewish community in Germany, Jewish children being scared of going to school, etc. I think he makes a fair point there. But then from there he goes on to talk about anti-Semitism, and immediately he mentions protests. And I think this is basically where he wanted to go. His kind of how he expresses is better than what I've heard in the German media before. He brings up actual cases and a worry that is of course concerns that are fair. Concerns about rising anti-Semitic attacks, etc. But here is where he pinpoints it to the protests. The pro-Palestinian protests,
and he calls them Islamist.
Exactly. There, I wanted to go. That is.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's.
First, he just speaks about anti-Semitism at the protests, but then when he basically starts to talk about the protest board, exactly as you said, he calls them Islamist protests in Berlin.
Yeah. Ignoring that, a lot of the protests that have either been cancelled or shut down have been Jewish organized.
Exactly.
So it's quite gross.
I love how he has the exact same concerns as the stupid anti-Deutsch squats that get really mad about the Al-Quds march. It is a strain that you can just see that just exists in every psychotic realm of German society. Is this fear of this I think that they legitimately think that they're Islamists, I think there's this there's a handful of strange things going on there, because yes, I 100% agree with you, Julia. I saw people quote tweeting this speech talking about it being so great, and I saw some people I trust saying oh, it's terrible. And I watch it, and for the first 3 minutes where he's talking about sitting down with Jewish communities and talking about how they're afraid, I'm this is all fairly reasonable. This is the best of what I would expect. And it's as soon as he calls them Islamist, I'm I raise my eyebrows and go oh, okay, here we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Because it's kind of amazing how he kind of showed that he did his unlike a lot of other German politicians, he did his homework. He went and sat down with Jewish communities and talked to them about their what they're experiencing. But then strangely comes to basically the same conclusions all the people who didn't do their homework.
Exactly.
It's
and that's the problem. He just does it in a milder tone. Basically, he always wants to come off as the rational guy that still has a heart as well. I don't know. That is how I would describe Habeck. When he's saying oh damn, we have to basically cut all social welfare. It breaks my heart to do this, but
we must privatize the Berlin
everything. And he would probably shed a tear or some shit like that, but still would do it.
It's that super bizarre video of Angela Merkel interviewing a refugee, or an interview. A refugee was interviewing Angela Merkel, and then pretty much asked her why does she have to be deported, and then Merkel pretty much tells her she has to be deported. Too bad. The kid starts crying, and then Merkel goes over and hugs her, and it's the most awkward interaction I've ever seen in German politics.
I know. It's a classic, definitely.
It's sorry, I just want to point out there's like this really weird, like really strange kind of like having your cake and eating it too, like thing that goes on with the Green Party, where like the Realos have very much taken control of the party.
Yeah.
Baerbock and Habeck are very much Realos. But at the same time, they would like you to have all the positive associations of the fundies with them.
Yeah.
We would like you to think that we are still like the 68 movement or whatever. If you could do that while I'm telling you that things have to be shit now.
Yeah.
It's a really
that'd be great.
They're gonna deport people with an Atomkraft Nein Danke sign or some shit like that.
Like, it's really amazing too how they can like legit do shit like that, and they just kind of like easily, like, I don't know how they either like deflect it or their voters are really just sold on vibes only, because they stay solid in the polls everywhere. Like, they lost once in like Bremen, but then they're like, I mean, I guess in the Hessen and Bayern elections they did like kind of crap locally, but weirdly polling every single time they're still consistently at like 17%, 15% nationally. Like, they can do everything against what their party apparently stands for, and they're like Gucci.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably because it's defined by what else is happening in German politics. It's they have a base of support that is like, no matter what they do, as long as the story is correctly that like the AFD are going ham, you need to vote for someone who's not the AFD and would probably never work with them, which, to all the Greens' faults, they would probably never work with the AFD.
Yeah, no, of course not.
No,
and the SPD probably wouldn't either.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not so much based on what the Greens do or don't do. It's based on what the AFD does and doesn't do.
Yeah, exactly.
Should we go through just quickly the list of some of the things that are in here that's kind of weird?
Yeah. I mean, we
I mean,
already talked about the protests, yeah.
Because
then there's one thing, this audacity of saying, of course you can protest. That is not a problem. I mean, the audacity, because like people have been arrested also, leftists, Jewish Israelis that stand just with a sign, basically like asking for a ceasefire. It doesn't say anything like horrible on the sign or something.
That's promoting Islamism. All right, you gotta.
Here's the thing: it doesn't say anything. It doesn't say like whatever. I don't know, from the river to the sea or something like that.
Yeah, it says Allah damns the Sykes-Picot agreement.
It demands a ceasefire. It demands the like stopping the killing of innocent civilians, and you get arrested for that. And here's where Habeck is like, he's like, oh yeah, of course you can protest. Just stop with your Islamist, I don't know, rioting or some shit like that. And that is just the audacity of that.
Are you talking about because the one I keep thinking of is the Israeli woman who protests by herself at Hermannplatz.
Exactly. Wait.
And then she's arrested on the grounds that it was an unlawful assembly. I'm like, one person can't be an assembly. Stop it.
Yeah, exactly. If you're just wearing a sign, you're not like having a protest with like 10,000 people or something, and wearing a sign should kind of be allowed, no?
Habeck has to come up to you, put the handcuffs on you, and just shake his head, being like, I'm so sorry, I have to do this. I have to.
He's crying one single tear rolling down his cheek as he sends you away.
He's just like, through the tears, he says, get in the car, scum. I'm so sorry. Get in there. You have no right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The guy whipping around the cell phone shop, like arrow sign, just pummeled by police.
Yeah, that's an unlawful assembly now. Like the guy, the sign flippers in front of like mobile phone repair shops. Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely.
Yeah.
The true criminals.
Yes.
The speech, I think, broadly emphasizes two ideas that are kind of dangerous at the moment, which is all Jews equal Israel and Israel equals all Jews, which is like an anti-Semitic thought, but is very kind of like very much kind of implied about this speech, because he's like, I talk to Jewish communities in Germany, and this is why we have to do this about Israel. And it's like, okay, there's kind of like a very weird disconnect there, which he's taken to task to later on. I want to talk about, and of course he does the very heavily implied anti-Semitism in Germany is imported myth, which is also very dangerous.
Super dangerous.
Very, very dangerous. With the implication, with the tone underneath all of this is that, and Schultz said as much earlier in Der Spiegel about like, we will deport you if you don't behave or don't act Germanly enough. What being German enough will be defined later. So
basically it's interesting how he says it, because he does it in his Habeck way again. He says like, if you don't have a residence permit yet or an Aufenthaltstitel, this could be a reason for you to get deported, basically. That is the way he says it.
The nicest threat you've ever heard.
Yes, exactly. Nicest threat of deportation you've ever heard.
We will end you. So then there's like a bunch of like weird gauche things that he brings up that just kind of seems crass, because it doesn't really seem... it just kind of felt like when I was listening to it, I was like, now is not the time, Habeck. This is not the time to bring this up. Which, one that we can easily talk about very quickly was his beef with Fridays for Future.
Oh, yeah.
Because every chapter of Fridays for Future, bar the German chapter, has basically released a statement saying, like, we are in solidarity with Palestine. The actions by Israel are disproportionate. We call for a ceasefire, etc., etc. And they did this back in like 2019, 2020 as well, when there was it was 2021 when like
2021.
When this kind of like last flared up and got like international media attention, and that caused the break with German Fridays for Future, which again is just kind of seemed kind of like petty scorekeeping. I don't know, Habeck just having a problem with Fridays for Future.
Yeah.
But more importantly, was him just kind of like wedging Russia into the discussion.
I know, yeah.
That was so weird.
It was actually. It felt like he kind of has to put like his like party stance on everything into the speech, in the sense of that. I mean, yeah, of course, like. Ukraine, is it's the thing, and there was another thing though. Wait, let me go through the speech real quick. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it was like his like chance to just kind of like, he's like, I'm here. I'm just gonna diss everyone.
It did kind of feel like, you're right that it was like a manifesto. It did kind of feel like it was just like, hey, everyone, reminder, vote green, by the way. Just
exactly, because he also, when he talks about German anti-Semitism, what he brings up is the Fliegenschiss comment made by Gauland back then, claiming that the Nazi regime was just a Fliegenschiss in the
Vogelschiss. He said Vogelschiss.
No, well, Habeck says Fliegenschiss.
Oh, okay.
So Habeck did it wrong. So yeah, Gauland said Vogelschiss. So
maybe you're right. Maybe you're
shit.
right.
No, I think it's. I don't know what he said.
It doesn't matter.
Anyway, some tiny animal like pooping somewhere. That's basically what they were saying. Yeah, basically mentioning this. So here, like basically naming. Well, implying the AfD as a problem of anti-Semitism in Germany, which they are definitely.
We'll talk about that in the main episode for sure.
Yeah, exactly. but not like But there is more than just the AfD, of course. I mean, Germany is not this like super clean, beautiful country, no anti-Semitism, everyone learned from history, etc., that they try to make Germany seem in these kind of speeches. It's the same with the Bild manifesto, basically saying if you live here,
damn.
we talk about that as well. But saying that basically, if you live here, we are like this, we are like that, we are tolerant, we love everyone, we give kisses.
We are like this, brackets, not Jewish. Close brackets. It's basically what it says.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's. They paint a picture of Germany that is just a false picture of Germany. That is just not true, like especially Bild. This goes wild. Later was eating like pork.
I mean that was also like a theme, a through line, a rote Linie in the like in Habeck's speech, and like he keeps bringing up like 80 years after the Holocaust and this is happening, and it's like my grandmother's older than that. It's not really like it's a long time in some senses, sure, but it's also like it was a pretty big event. Like it might take a little bit longer, a little bit more work to actually get over this.
They're acting like after the Holocaust everything was fine in Germany and everyone like became this very beautiful, tolerant country in the middle of Europe that everyone loves. Well,
we all became like Tintin brackets. 1910 to 1930 something to 1945 to present.
Yes.
We stopped being like Tintin from 1933 to 1945.
Forget about that. That's like
don't look at that.
That's like your company's history. It's like, oh yeah, we did this like around like 1900 and shit like that. And then there was a break like around 1933 to 1905.
Yeah, there was a break there.
We need to hire our own historian to figure out what happened there.
Exactly.
And then for some strange reason after the break we all got really into hiring historians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to clear it up,
Yeah, absolutely. The Russian stuff, because we mentioned this earlier with the FTP politician talking about like how Hamas's attack coincides with Putin's birthday. Think about it. And if you fold the dollar bill, it looks like 9/11.
Hell yeah.
There's really something very interesting there, and it comes up in Habeck's speech of like Germany is really, really unwilling to accept, I guess, the reality of what Israel and Russia's relationship is, because Israel hasn't like sanctioned them.
No,
they've been relatively cozy. Like Israel has done very well, surprisingly, in my opinion, at like playing both sides, which is probably going to end now because I think Putin is going to be like, potentially having the global south on my side is more important than having Israel kind of on my side. So I think he's probably going to come out like very aggressively pro-Palestinian for like politicking reasons, not for like moral reasons, but like but up until now, like the relationship between those two countries has been good. I think I said it on the podcast ages ago that I was really optimistic when Israel said that it was going to negotiate peace talks between Ukraine and Russia. It's like,
Israel,
I was like, that's basically the only country that could do it.
Yeah, I mean, Israel has also not sent weapons to Ukraine or anything like that, even though like there were requests by Ukraine. So
they have a lot of weapons.
Yeah, they do have a lot of weapons, and they're gonna have more soon.
Israel sent weapons like a while ago to Ukraine, but not since the war broke out.
Yeah, not since the war. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
2014.
There was a big there was a big scandal because Azov got their had delivery sent to them from Israel.
And some Jewish people in Israel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, but I'm talking about like during this like now like the full scale.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
And there's just like I find it really interesting that Germany really doesn't want to confront that and has just kind of basically pretends that Israel has been on like their side and Ukraine's side the entire time. And that's super interesting, and I wonder what's going to happen with it. But just thought I should bring that attention.
Yeah.
If we have nothing else to say about the actual content of Habeck's speech, I did want to bring up that I actually watched some German television recently.
Oh, wow.
Crazy. I watched what is it called? Markus Lanz
on
ZDF.
Oh no.
All right, so apparently I'm not watching the best German television has to offer, but like I don't know, whenever I see like a ZDF clip circulating on Twitter or online stuff, I'm just like, fuck it, I pay for that. I'm gonna watch it on the CDF streaming website. No, they the day Habeck's speech came out, Marcus Lanz had like his CDF Heute show, which I think is just called Marcus Lanz, right?
It's just called that.
And Habeck joined the panel via like Zoom call kind of thing, satellite phone, and he got basically taken to task by a one Deborah Feldman, who is who herself is Jewish German, and she was one of the signatories to the Taz open letter. Yeah, that was like, go on.
Yeah. It's, by the way, so was Iris Hefitz. That's the woman that was arrested for holding the sign.
Yeah. So like, it's bad. But like, she kind of took Habeck to task on like a lot of the things he said. She pointed out that like the protection of Jewish people in Germany is very selective. She brought up something that I thought was very interesting. I never really considered before, that like synagogues in Germany get like police protection, which she's like, that's good. Yeah. But she also made the point that like most German Jews are not really like synagogue going Jews anymore. They're like secular Jews. And she pointed out an example of something that happened since October 7th, which is there's this kosher restaurant. I want to say she said was in Berlin. She obviously didn't give the name. That's very popular with like conservative Jewish people, secular Jewish people, Gentile Germans, Orthodox Jews, secular Jews, whatever. It's very popular. She very much implied that you have to have a reservation to get into this restaurant. But since like all the stuff's been kicking off, it's been like empty and people are afraid to go there. And when she went there recently, she asked like, where is the like, is there not German or state protection for this, for like a kosher restaurant, a kosher supermarket, things that in which like all Jewish people might go to regardless of like how religious they are. To which she was like, no, that doesn't happen. She also brings up the story of like, because she signed this open letter in Taz, she got like a very kind of weird, almost death threat by someone who works for a state-funded Jewish newspaper. Yeah. And very much made the point that like, if you don't agree with German foreign policy as a Jewish person in this country, you don't get those protections afforded to you. She nearly is like brought to tears describing everything that's happening. She says that the only lesson that can actually be learned from the Holocaust is human rights for all, not just for a select few Jewish people who happen to agree with German foreign policy. So it was it's really good. I recommend it. Like, even if you're like me and can't speak German, the Google auto translate subtitles are all right.
Yeah, she's the author. She's the author of Unorthodox, also Unorthodox, which is this book.
I'm sorry I didn't give her credentials beforehand, because like I just found out about her because of this, and I was there's
a
impressed.
Netflix movie on.
Oh yeah,
exactly, based on the book. Basically, it made a bit more into.
Yeah, my father-in-law loves that film. Actually, like, weird Ciaran fact.
But yeah, she also mentions that that a lot of the family members and relatives of like the hostages. The Hamas hostages are now coming out protesting against the attacks on Gaza, because they are, first of all, also afraid of their for their relatives that are in Gaza, because Israel is they're not very precise with their bombing, and they don't want to be, let's say like that. They just fucking bomb everything.
And like in hostage situations, like anyone who's trained in that knows that escalation is like the worst thing you can do.
Exactly. Yeah. And they, I guess Israel just sees it as collateral damage, killing the hostages. And there is a protest movement like that consists of family members and relatives. There have been like a lot of statements made by relatives coming out like saying, this is not the solution. See, we have been doing this for years and decades.
Nothing's changed.
And they they said we would be secure in Israel. There would be no threat to us as long as we're in Israel. And then the Hamas attack happened, basically saying like, oh yeah, this was all like, this was all for nothing. And this is not the strategy we should continue. That was one of the statements of a family member whose relative was killed, as far as I know. But saying like, see, nothing happened. This is not the way to go. And escalating this will not keep anyone safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what's been happening there.
Yeah.
And it's upsetting, but also very important to hear and talk about because it's not going away, and not talking about it isn't going to help. No. So that's. Oh man, we should really transition to becoming an anime podcast.
I agree. I've been slightly out this week due to a brutal cold, and it's been like it's been pleasant to not have to fully engage with anything until just now.
Until Ciaran very rudely got me on the podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Okay. With a slight shift in tone away from talking about things that are serious and people like Feldman who deserve our respect, we are now going to talk about a bunch of people who are clowns and evil and do not deserve our respect. That's right, Bild.
That's right.
Oh my God. So at S-Bahn-Neukölln, you have this big wall where there's always advertisement on it. So like a big billboard kind of wall, basically. Like it's a house wall because we don't have billboards, but
sure.
The German billboard. It's just a wall.
It's just a board. With a roof on top of it.
Exactly. So there's now, it was replaced with this big ass fucking Bild advertisement, which is horrible. Horrible. Now I have to look at that all the fucking time. It shows like politicians from all, it's like Alice Weidel, Scholz, Merz, and I don't know if they chose Habeck or Baerbock, one of the Green Party members, and saying like, what does it say again? It's something like "Bild is here to stay" or something like, or like, yeah, exactly. Saying
just try and get rid of us.
Forget about it, you stupid politicians. Bild is here to stay, and Bild bleibt Bild or some shit like that. And it's like, your Baerbocks and your Scholzes, they come and go, but you know what's eternal? This fucking terrible newspaper. Yes, exactly. Bild bleibt Bild. Oh my God.
Yeah,
that's I will.
And I
that's
see
so
them everywhere now.
True. Yeah.
And I see them everywhere now. Like Bild is trying. I don't know if they want to get elected as something. Like they put out a manifesto. I see fucking posters
that's
everywhere.
A good point.
Yeah.
This is the end game of Germany. We make Bild the president.
Oh my God! I'm gonna move.
Yeah, we all have to move at that point. All right, so we now get to talk about the Bild manifesto, which for people who don't live in Germany, you're like, excuse me. The Bild is a newspaper, right? That's right. Why are they releasing a manifesto? Oh,
normal
racism.
Things that newspapers do. Yeah.
Normal.
Every newspaper has a manifesto, right? Like that's just a thing that's just a thing you do.
Normal Axel Springer things.
Yeah.
Hang on, I have to make it all big again so I can see it. Okay, so the Bild manifesto is entitled "Germany, We Have a Problem." Mm-hmm. It's been translated into
the language selection's insane.
Yeah,
the language selection, I believe, is kind of targeted because like Bild is a national paper, but has basically chosen the languages of Berlin.
Yeah,
which I find very interesting.
Yeah.
It's German, Turkish, Arabic, English, and Russian.
Yeah.
Which, if I'm not mistaken,
the Arabic one seems like it must be a taunt. Then,
oh,
like, yeah, like it's bad.
It is bad. The English translation is not the best either. I wouldn't be surprised if this was all machine translated.
Yeah, whatever.
They just ran it through DeepL and then just went with it.
These fuckers aren't using DeepL. They're using Google Translate.
Oh yeah, true.
They don't know about DeepL.
Fair enough.
Is it pronounced DeepL?
Sure, DeepL.
I thought it was DeepL, but okay.
I call it DeepL.
DeepL.
I'm like DeepL.
DeepL is
That's cute.
adorable. Yeah.
DeepL's cute. Yeah, I'll keep calling it DeepL.
Thank you.
So Germany, we have a problem is the name of the manifesto. Our world is in chaos, and we are right in the middle of it. Not really. Since the terrorist attack by Hamas on Israel, there's some places that are in the middle of it.
Yes.
We are experiencing a new dimension of there is a serious case of just like, oh man, Hamas attacked Israel. How can we make this about me in Germany?
Oh my god.
We are experiencing a new dimension of hatred in our country against our values, democracy, and against Germany. So that's the opening line. Then there's some fluff saying we can't let this continue. We must say no to anti-Semitism, and thus Bild has made a manifesto. The manifesto has 50 points. So
they are. You told me to like pick out a few, and I was reading through them, and it's like they're all insane.
You should choose the ones that are like where the font is bigger because you can see
the font is just bigger because it just alternates is what I found out. It wasn't that they were highlighting any of them.
But they are.
Yeah,
I thought they were.
Yeah. No. I thought so too, but no.
Yeah,
but
I thought
the point about women wear bikinis and swimsuits at the swimming pool.
We'll get there.
Yeah, I know.
No. We can. There's no sense going through this in order because there's no rhyme or reason.
I thought this one was especially important to Bild because they love girls in bikinis. That's a wild one, man. Like, let people wear like more clothes. I mean, it's not like harming anyone. No, like seriously. Like if you wear like a covering swimsuit or some shit like that, where's the problem, dude?
This is Bild showing that it still cares about European values. It still cares about the European project. This is a fig leaf to the French. We are also angry about the bikini.
Of course Bild is angry about the bikini. They had like the page 3 girl for like, I don't know, I think they still have it. So
probably. I wouldn't doubt it.
Exactly.
But I love how this list like just gets right off like the bat of like the second one just says, for us there are no infidels.
No.
Everyone can believe in whatever they want, even Santa Claus. It's just like it's too extreme of a sentence in general.
So there is, I feel like there's a handful of categories of this, which is there is genuinely the category of like relatively harmless statement, right? Which is like, for example, point number 1 of the manifesto, I think falls into the category, which is point number 1 of the manifesto is them just mentioning the Article 1 of the German Constitution. That's like a harmless statement because that's like you would find that on a Wikipedia article about the German Constitution.
And then fuck that shit. Everything afterwards doesn't matter. Our manifesto is the new Constitution, baby.
Then there's like category number 2. I am angry at Muslims, but specifically like the interpretation I have of Muslims from the movie Team America, not realizing the Team America was a parody. Because that second point of like we're angry at the infidels is like, man, that just took me right back to like 2003 Bush era. Let's go like invade Iraq kind of rhetoric. Like
dipshit Americans loved having stickers on their cars that said infidel.
Yeah. Talking about that just feels very dated a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's also shit in here about beheadings and stuff like that.
I know. But we all know that this is just directed to like any kind of like what the kind of stereotype they have about like Muslim people.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
fueled by insane shit that they probably published in the first place.
Exactly.
Then there's, I think, my personal favorite was the points they had about like respecting women and respecting gay people, because that was just like, that was very funny to me and anyone who knows the history of this fucking publication.
Yes, exactly.
It was literally just like, we here in Germany respect gay and queer people despite our best efforts here at Bild. Like
exactly.
We haven't had
this is, and they even put a like queer and trans friendly like point in there somewhere. Even if you don't find yourself as like being a woman or a man, they say you are still welcome here. And somehow they put queer and querdenken in one sentence. I'm like, that's kind of weird. No, because querdenker we know are this kind of like weird fucking like left-right alliance kind of thing, anti-corona, whatever shit, you know. And putting that together with like queer people is kind of like that already shows us like, what is this? But I think they just thought it sounds funny if you put it in one sentence. But anyway, Bild is very, very famous for being very transphobic as well. So
absolutely. And even the points they're saying about like Germany being queer friendly, or like the things they kind of allude to like trans people, it still comes across as very patronizing, and like it reads the same way as like, you're not an infidel even if you believe in Santa Claus, or that there's like more than two genders or whatever, crazy things like that. It feels very
Did we mention how racist this is?
Oh, very racist. I'm getting to
racist.
that.
I don't think we mentioned how racist this is. There's like small little microaggression ones that are really ridiculous. There was one that I saw that was like, knives belong in kitchens, not in our pockets, which was a very like...
This one, yes. There's another one saying we are a nation of grillers, of people that grill, basically barbecuing and shit like that. And we take our trash away afterwards. This is basically also a microaggression, saying like that families that grill, for example, at Tempo Fafet or some shit like that, leave everything leave all their trash out and shit.
I know exactly where
they're going with this. I know exactly where it comes from. Yeah,
because you're going to get like, Germany has very quickly kind of like, in the way that Americans would say coastal elites sometimes means Jewish people. Germany has very much taken Sonnenallee or Neukölln to mean Muslim.
Yeah.
So it's like, we enjoy grilling, unlike those people of Sonnenallee. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Anyway, the
we pork. That's like
that's number 12.
Yeah.
I think that's everyone's favorite. No, I mean, come on.
That was the one that, like, when I shared that on Twitter, people were just like, I just got to the pork one. Jesus fucking Christ.
We as Germans eat pork.
Of course, not everyone does. By the way, we have 10 million vegetarians and vegans because freedom also goes through the stomach.
Oh my god, dude. Yeah, freedom goes to the stomach.
I don't like... There's this idea that, like, sure, there's been some terrorist attacks in Germany, sure, and then like in Germany, like in the average Bild writer's head, it's because like that guy died because he ate pork. That was the motivation behind this attack. Mm-hmm. We just love pork too much, and they had to kill us.
Damn. There also like there's this other point where they are just like shooting against people with low income or like in like precarious socioeconomic situations, saying basically like wait, what was it? Like, oh, we don't take the like unemployment money as like our basically wait, where is it? I can't find the point. Mm-hmm. We don't take it as here. We expect everyone to put effort into finding a job, to pay for their own cost of living, even when Bürgergeld or unemployment money seems higher than whatever you get as a wage. Basically saying like everyone is a Sozialschmarotzer that takes Bürgergeld because they don't want to work for a job that would pay less and would basically make it impossible to afford your cost of living.
Yeah, I love how then like directly after, not directly, but like right under that one a little bit, there's one that then is just like, by the way, also, we fucking drink here. If you don't like it, get the fuck out of here. Like, then don't drink. It's just like, It's such an insane thing too, because it's just like, yeah, Germany's like a country where you can like let your freak flag fly, which is like something not true at all that Bild, thinks is a reality of Germany. But then it's also like you have to like give into like our very stupid like our politics of what we think is normal, I don't know. It's aside from being stupid, it's also very just like, it's very, I don't know. Yeah. It reads like policy positions more than anything of like them trying to like even like bring a point. I think Yulia's right. I think the paper's tried to become a political party.
Right. I love also like number 30, which is like, we give you asylum. We don't expect you to thank us, but I think it would like what's angebracht shit. Appropriate, thank you. Yeah, I think it would be appropriate if you thank us. So like basically it's like, oh yeah. They're very passive aggressive about this.
Oh, super much. Like, yeah, speaking to the poor thing, they said like we don't view we don't view social security services as an employer.
Oh, yes, exactly, that one. Yeah. That was the one that I was actually looking for. Yeah.
And then there's other shit in here that's just like is just angry at other Germans, which is like, we don't view the police as like brutal enforcers. And it's like a lot of Germans do though. It's never mind.
The state has a monopoly of violence. That one fucking threw me for a loop. It's like, okay, what is this, a sociology paper? Like, calm the fuck down.
I wish they would have just written, we love our law enforcement.
We love our cops. Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just links to the hot cop photos.
Oh my God.
Then there's also one in there that I found particularly funny because so there's a very interesting thing that happens with Germany. I think it probably happens to other countries as well, which is if you make, as a foreigner, if you make a point about Germany, like a critical point about Germany, some Germans can get really defensive even when that same point is made by Germans. They'll be like, oh, interesting. Like, I've heard Germans get really angry at foreigners talking about how bad the internet is, even when they like are FTP voters. And it's like, that party is talking constantly about how bad the internet is. And one in here I found very funny because it was like, there's something in here about having like nice customer service or saying please and thank you and stuff like that.
Oh, fuck off.
This is a joke Germans will make about themselves, that we are bad at customer service. Yes. But if you, as a non-German, say it, you better fuck off.
This is what I'm saying again. This also like in a ridiculous way, not like Habeck, but like Habeck does it in like a political way. So this in a ridiculous way paints a picture of a Germany Bild would love to, like, basically everyone would, like, Bild would love to have this kind of Germany.
Bild is a dude. Let's be real. Bild is a dude.
No. First of all, they would not love to have this kind of Germany because they don't like women. They don't like. They don't like any kind of person that
trans
people, queer people, etc. Left-wing people, nothing. So yeah. They don't even like children. They say they like children. I don't believe that.
Yeah, unless those children are fucking working, then you know what? Or they're a Bild, reader, exactly. Then they can get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Point 50 is, and we'll wrap up with this, I guess. Point 50 is particularly like Orwellian in its construction. Of like, we love life, not death. Like, I can totally imagine like the Nazi troops like bogged down in fucking Stalingrad, like telling themselves that
we love life, not death. Oh my God.
It is very like Ministry of Peace kind of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like the Germans loved using the word like Freude during the Nazi era to describe everything.
Yeah,
What's that mean? Is it friend?
No,
joy.
Freude is joy.
Oh, joy.
Yeah,
okay,
there's even like yeah. So,
Lebensfreude. Shit.
Yeah. There is even like, I mean, the name like Joy Division, like the band comes from a Nazi.
Yeah.
Einsatzgruppe thing or whatever.
Fun.
Yeah.
Fun to think about. All right, so that's the new upstart political party, Bild. giving the new they're gonna start polling that they're gonna stop polling people on Sarafagandek's new party. They're gonna start asking hey, would you vote for Bild? And with that, we will catch you on the main feed. Ciao ciao.
Bye.
Bye.